Hi, everybody. So, you know, technology doesn't work? Yeah, it happens sometimes, but that's okay. We're all good. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my very first live Facebook. I was told that this is what you need to do, so here I am. Why? Why am I doing this? Hold on just a moment. Okay. So I started, when you didn't hear me, I started by saying that today the the whole kibbutz, the internet was going in and out, in and out. So I had to come to the big multi-purpose room in order for me to get on the internet. And of course, there's a youth group meeting next door, and I had to go and tell them to be quiet. So I put a video on Facebook a couple of days ago about my transformation. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to explain. I want to explain my transformation, and I want to get started with my journey to loving myself. And what does that mean? I didn't exactly know what to call it. I thought of calling it my journey to weight loss, but you know what? It's so much more than weight loss. I decided on the name My Journey to Loving Myself. Now, I know you can hear me. Good. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey. My journey actually starts before I was born. My mother, and I'm going to talk a lot about my mother. Mind you, I love my mother. I loved her very much. But I not always thought that she loved me, and that was a big deal. Okay, the story of my mother starts in Poland, and as a baby, she and her family get caught up in the Holocaust, and they get sent to Siberia. And my mother spends the first 4 years of her life in Siberia. A lot of hunger, work camp. The conditions of life are really bad. After that, they come back to Poland, and I always grew up hearing about how three families lived in one room or in one apartment, and things were hard and things were hard. Jewish folks and Israelis will know exactly what I'm talking about. When your parents grew up in the shadow of the Holocaust, it trickles down to you. And when I was growing up, again, I loved my mother. Times I doubted whether she really loved me. And that's a very hard thing to say. And I have to say that it's been several years since I have forgiven my mother, even though she never did any of this on purpose. She loved me, and later I understood that she really did love me. And she never did anything to hurt me on purpose, but she carried big baggage from her childhood and from her family. And I got it, okay? And it took a long time for me to shake off the baggage. And it all has to do with weight loss and weight gain. It all has to do with my self-image, okay? Let me give you some examples of what I grew up with. aside from the love and of my family, and I had a great childhood. I really did. But every once in a while, my mother would say, "Oh, you'd be so beautiful if you only put on some makeup." And then she would say, "If you'd only try, you could lose the weight. If you only tried, just try, just try." So what did I learn from that? Number one, that I'm not beautiful. And number two, that it's all my fault. It's me. I'm the one who is at fault, and I'm the one who is to blame. And I carried this and little things like this all throughout my childhood. My mother was a very slim woman when she was younger, but later on in life, she started to put on weight. And boy, did she come down on herself. We would be out and she would point to someone and say, "Oh, look how beautiful she is, how tall and blonde and slender." Tall and blonde and slender. Always those three. She's so beautiful, tall and blonde and slender. And you know what? My mother was not tall, she was not blonde, and she was not slender at that time. And you know what? I wasn't either. I was not tall, I was not blonde, and I was not slender. All of these things over and over taught me that I am not beautiful, that I am at fault, it's my fault, and there's something wrong with me. And that my mother doesn't think that I'm beautiful because it was everybody else, the tall, the blonde, and the slender. One more story about my mother, and I'm going to let her rest in peace. About 4 years ago, my sister and my sister-in-law and my mother and myself, we went on a cruise, a Mediterranean cruise, my first time. It was wonderful, amazing. I remember the most about the cruise was when we were sitting, and I don't even remember where it was. It was somewhere in an Italian little town or in Monaco. I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. We were sitting at a cafe, and my mother was sitting next to me, and my sister is in front, and my sister-in-law, and we were talking and talking. And I'm looking behind my sister, and I see this couple, a woman in a summer dress, walking with a man, and they're hugging. And what I thought was, wow, isn't that sweet? Look how they love each other. And suddenly, look at that woman. Look how tight her dress is. Look at those fat rolls. That's so disgusting. And I was sitting right there next to my mother. And you know what? I have rolls. I have rolls. And I started to cry. And my sister is looking at me, and my sister-in-law is looking at me, and tears are just streaming down my face. And just thinking about that right now is really painful, because I had just looked at this loving couple and said, wow, how love is so wonderful. And suddenly my mother cut me. It's like, because she has rolls and I have rolls, and she said that was disgusting. I'll never forget that. Never forget that. Okay. So, last August, my mother died. What does it all have to do with weight loss? I'm not going to talk about diets. I'm going to talk about my personal journey. And why am I talking about my personal journey? Because in the last 6 months, I have gone through a transformation. And part of that transformation is I listen to other people's stories. And every once in a while, something grabs me. Something grabs me and I say, wow, that's just like me. I identify with it. And my goal is for someone to listen to my story and say, oh, that's just what happened to me. And maybe if I got over it or if I managed, they can too. Sharing my story, first of all, fills my heart with joy because I'm thinking maybe I'm helping someone else. And I'm hoping that someone else will have the same feelings as I did and say, wow, that speaks to me. Okay, so my mother died on August 12th. And my family brought my mother's body to Israel and we buried her in Israel. And my family came here and we sat Shiva together. One of the most incredibly spiritual experiences I've ever had, having my dad, my sister, my brother, and me together sitting Shiva for my mother at my home. It was amazing. The very next week after I finished Shiva. Shiva is 7 days. 7 days we mourned. After those 7 days, I got a message from my friend Ian, and he said, Anat, please come to my BNI meeting to support me. I'm going to give a speech. I love Ian, and I said, sure, no problem. So about 2 weeks after my mother's mourning period ended, I went to a BNI meeting, Business Network International, business people getting together. And there I am sitting, and I am still reeling from my mother's death. Okay, it's 2 weeks after my mother died, and I'm sitting there, and there's a whole bunch of people sitting around. And my friend Ian got up and gave his speech, and we all applauded. He's wonderful. And then one by one, the people at the BNI meeting stood up and spoke. They gave their 30-second elevator speech, one after one. And suddenly this woman gets up, young woman, you're welcome, Yasmin. This young woman gets up, nice looking woman, and she stands up and she says, my name is Yasmin. And I thought, Yasmin is one of our daughters. One of our daughters is named Yasmin. So I immediately connected. And she said, my name is Yasmin, and I am a weight loss coach. I tell you, I heard that and my whole world changed. And I said, that is exactly what I need to do right now. And I'm no longer going to do it for my mother. I'm going to do it for myself. I immediately went up to her and I said, Yasmin, I have to meet with you. A week later, I met with you. And towards the middle of or end of September, I started working with Yasmin. She is amazing. And what we started to do was I hired her as my weight loss coach. And every week I went in and I weighed myself, and she helped me out and so forth. The first time I met with her, I cried the whole time. Because for the very first time, I was ready to take charge of me without thinking, I'm doing it for my mom, I'm doing it for my mom, I'm doing it for my mom. For me, I'm doing it for me. I was ready to take responsibility for me. My mom was no longer around. She was not going to call me and say, have you lost weight yet? I loved my mother. She was a wonderful mother. But she's no longer here. And now I have to take care of myself. So I've been in September, and it went very, very, very. In the middle of October, I had another crossroads, whatever. My very, very good friend Wilma from California came to visit me. She, when I went through a very difficult time 20 years ago, Wilma was there for me when we lived in Salinas. And Wilma is older than me, and I always looked up to her as a mentor. She's an amazing teacher. I looked up to her. She taught me so much about teaching, about life, about relationships. I love Wilma. And she came to the Holy Land on a pilgrimage. And I took her for 10 days all over Israel to all the places that Jesus walked. She's a very spiritual woman. And we spent a lot of time talking. And I shared all this with her. And one of the things that changed my life was this. Wilma said to me, Anat, if you are ready to make change, she said, look for the wise women. What's that? And she said, look for the wise women. Look for someone who has what you want. Go to them and tell them to teach you how to get it. And I went, okay. And I realized that is exactly what I had done with Yasmin. I went to Yasmin. She's a wise woman. And I made her my weight loss coach. And at that time, after Wilma left, I realized I need to go and find women that are wise and can teach me stuff. So I had Yasmin to teach me about weight loss. I had the lovely Ortal, who does my nails, to talk about beauty and stuff. And then I said, I need to find someone to teach me how to make some passive income, how to build a business on the side so I'm not always dependent on my tour guiding. And then I remembered I had some connections not too far back, and I went and found a financial coach. And I realized that I can find people that will help me with my changes that I wanted to do. And one of the things I loved about that was because for so long, I was a sergeant in the Israeli army. You cannot teach me anything. I know everything. Listen, I studied physical education, okay? I know exactly what you have to do to lose weight. You eat less than you expense. So meaning you put in less calories that you put out. It's simple. It's not a problem, okay? Why can't I do it? I can do it myself. It turns out I could not do it myself. I needed to look for wise women to help me out. And it's so connected to a very, very Jewish value. I live in Kibbutz Hanaton, which is right across the valley from a place called Tzipori, a beautiful archaeological place. That was where the Mishnah was written, one of the greatest works of our rabbinical works from about 1800 years ago. In the Mishnah, it says, find yourself a teacher. If you want to change, if you want to learn, find yourself a teacher. And that's so similar to what Wilma had said to me. It's amazing. So one of the things I've been doing lately is doing a lot of personal development. And it really helps with my mindfulness. I don't count calories. I am not on a diet. I am on a journey of becoming healthier, a journey of becoming better, a journey of getting to where I want to be. And that is really, really cool for me. I do a lot of personal development, and one of the things I realize is that my ego, which I got from my dad, thank you, Dad, my ego that says, I know everything, it's okay, no one has to teach me anything, I know, I can do it myself. It has gotten in my way so many times. It's perfectly okay to look for help. It's perfectly okay to look for help. And because I looked for help, I was successful. And so since September, what it was it September, October, November, December, January, something like that, for about 5 months, I started at 92 kilos. 92 kilos is about 202 pounds. Okay. And about 5 months later, I was down to 185 pounds, about 84 kilos. And then the corona hit. And during the corona, it was much harder to stay on track, but I maintained it, plateau, which was great because I realized that I can maintain it. And what happened is that a few weeks ago, I realized that I need to continue. I need to continue with my changes. I need to continue. And I found that word. I was listening to a lecture. I was listening to a broadcast, and the guy said, he talked about transformation. And when I heard that word, I said, that's it. That's the word I need, transformation. I'm transforming myself from Anat, who did not love herself, Anat, who was ashamed of her body, Anat, who had very low self-esteem, to Anat, who lives in the wonderful future that she is going to create. And very, very slowly, I've been really transforming myself, and it really has helped with my positive attitude, my attitude of gratitude, because I know I'm going to get there. And all that has to do with weight loss. Another one of the things that I've learned is taking 100% responsibility. I have a friend by the name of Eitan. Eitan, who is in this group that I'm learning personal development with, he shed 40 kilos or something like that. And when he was talking about his transformation, he said something that I just grabbed. He said something, I learned to take 100% responsibility. And I thought, what does that mean? That means that I cannot say it's my mother's fault. I cannot say somebody brought cake. I cannot say there's nothing to eat, I have to eat this or that. I have to take 100% responsibility. And it's very empowering. And it's wonderful. It feels so good because it's me. It's me. I am the one who is responsible for me. Okay? I am the one who chooses to be positive. I am the one who chooses to be grateful. I am the one who chooses to receive the help from all of these people. I receive help from Yasmin. I receive help from Ortal. I receive help from Yair, from Wilma, from Eitan. I receive help and I'm open. I am open to receive help because my ego has quieted down. I don't know everything. Isn't that amazing? I don't know everything. And it's okay for me to make mistakes. Anyways, so this week, tomorrow, I am going to be 58 years old, tomorrow. And I decided that this week I'm going back to mindfulness, mindful eating, and the rest of my weight loss. I started at 92 kilos and my goal is 75 kilos. I started this week at 84.2. So I've lost 8 kilos. It goes 8.5, 8, 8.5, and 8. I've lost 8 kilos. And what I want to do in the comments is I'm going to put, oh, thank you for the happy birthday. Hi, Nitney. Anyways, I have another half to go. I lost 8 and I have about 8 to go till 75. So on May 31st, I started with 84.2 kilos, which is what is 84.2? 185 pounds. Every week, I am going to take a photograph of the scale with my toes on it, and I'm going to put it on Facebook. Why? Because I'm not ashamed anymore. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I am not ashamed anymore. I love myself, and I am going to go through this. And if anybody gets inspired by what I'm going through, so be it. That's my goal, because inspiring someone else keeps me going and gives me a commitment. So I'm going to weigh myself with Yasmin tomorrow, and I will post my weight tomorrow. So every Friday, something like that, I will post my weight. I will get to 75 pounds. It might take 5 months. It might take 6 months. It's perfectly okay. How am I doing it? Yasmin says, don't eat on large plates, eat on smaller plates. The problem is that I put it on a smaller plate, but I heap the food on, I still have to work on it. It's a work in progress. It's perfectly fine. So I don't count calories. I try to eat on a smaller plate. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I am so lucky because I live in Israel, and we in Israel eat a Mediterranean diet. Fruits and vegetables galore. I do eat some bread, good bread as we call it at home, good bread, maybe a sourdough, maybe an olive bread, but I eat very little, maybe a piece of bread a day. I barely eat pasta. I try to lower the carbs. That's the biggest change in my eating habits is I took out most of the carbs. I am a pescatarian, which means I do not eat meat, but I do eat fish. So I'm sort of a vegetarian who eats fish and eggs. I barely eat any dairy, but I don't really want to talk about that because each person does their own thing. The most important thing is I am losing weight joyfully. And it's a wonderful feeling that I'm doing it for myself, and I'm back. Yasmin is going to weigh me tomorrow, and I am back. And I'm going to end, and I'm going to look at the comments in a little bit, but I'm going to end with two things. When I posted my video a couple of days ago, a bunch of my friends said, oh, I want to go through a transformation too. Can I do it too? And I thought, what an amazing thing. Let's set up a group of people who want to transform. I don't know what you want to transform. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to exercise more? Do you want to improve your relationship? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm doing the transformation as we go along. But I'm wondering, who wants to transform with me? I already have some of my friends from back in Peru who want to do it with me. So I think I'm going to start a Facebook group. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but we'll help each other. Find yourself a teacher, okay? Find someone that will support you and help you. That is so important. And the next thing is that this is for my friend Yair, who's my mentor, Yair. I've discovered that I am a wizard. And what does that mean? That means that there's a story about Merlin. You know Merlin, who was King Arthur's wizard? He said something like, normal people live their present, live today, based on their past. But we wizards live today based on the future. Wow. When I heard that, I went, oh my gosh, I am not the mistakes I've made. I am not the weight that I've had. I am not the bad decisions that I made in the past. I am not. I am the future. I am what I'm building now, and my future is bright. and I have all these goals and all these things I want to do in the future. That's who I am. I'm not my past. I am a wizard because I am my future. Ha! I love it. Wow, what an amazing feeling it is to just say that. That's amazing. Okay, so I'm done. And let's see. Nittany, thank you. Opal. Opal says, I don't understand. If you don't have the answers, who will I ask? I don't know, Opal. We could look together. Let's see. Happy birthday. Yeah, thank you. My birthday is tomorrow. I'm going to be 58. I look pretty good for 58, don't you think? Okay. So listen, Paul. Oh, Ruth said, thank you. You are amazing. Wonderful. So listen, 84 pounds, 84 kilos on Sunday. I can't wait to see what I do tomorrow. And I will keep you updated. And so this is my first path of transformation, making myself healthier and losing the weight because I want to be here for a long time to come. Thank you, everybody. I love you. And I will see you on my next live broadcast. And the next time, I hope my computer's sound works. Anyways, bye. Love you.